Hey guys, welcome to Under the Arch Sports. I'm Eric Hobbs,
And I'm David Woldingen.
and it's time for the Capital Classic. You may not call it that, but we do. St. Louis City SC versus Sporting Kansas City, and we'll see about everyone else calling it Capital Classic down the road. Before we just start talking about this, please, guys, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave us a comment about what you think is going to happen here if you think that nickname's good. And find us on Facebook, Instagram, X, and on Spotify. Okay, David, neither team is doing anything in the standings. They are both above San Jose and nobody else. Tied in points, Kansas City has more wins, so they're listed ahead. But, playoff chances not mathematically over with, but it's not happening. So, what are you looking forward to in this game?
It's just another rivalry game, man, between these two teams. It's been a battle, especially this year. The last two meetings went 1-1 and 3-3, so I'm expecting a bunch of goals in this game. Uh,
Even going
St.
back to
Louis,
last year, it feels like they're high scoring games a lot of the time.
yeah, so the last five games combined had 20 goals.
And
But
if you're a casual fan of soccer, that makes it more entertaining. To be honest, just that's just me.
the biggest thing I'm watching out for in this game, though, is with all the transfers that came into St. Louis City,
Yeah,
I want them to continue to build on what they started here in the second half. They're starting to play a lot better soccer. They're
yes.
better with possession. The passes are more crisp. They're making better decisions. The offensive style gameplay has opened up a lot. There's a lot more creativity in the final third, if you will. So I just want to see them continue build on that. And probably the biggest weakness for City is their defense. And I want to see them continue to try work and improve in that area.
Uh, it's a transition. As this season started, it was a continuation of the end of the inaugural season, where if you just let St. Louis City have the ball and make them grind their way down the field and not give up fast breaks, you win. And it's a continuation of the transition away from that, with Bradley Cardell being gone and kind of reverting to a more standard form of play, for lack of better phrasing. And then, yeah, honestly, having all the transfers just get used to playing with each other. It's really what it is. It's building for next season, honestly. And having a rivalry game like this, it adds the intensity. It makes it easier to really get up for a game that otherwise wouldn't matter. Because let's face it, this end of the season, St. Louis City is having to manufacture motivation. There's no playoffs at stake. There's nothing in terms of goals for the season on the line. So it's good to have a game against SKC this late in the season that they don't have to manufacture that motivation and excitement.
Well, and probably the other thing to think about is Hackworth is still managing for his own position because he's
Oh
still the
yeah.
intern coach right now. I know there are rumors flying around this week that St. Louis is possibly looking at Louisville's head coach. They're in
Yeah.
a USL. Um, don't know anything about them. Don't know much about it. Just know that there was a rumor flying around that that could be a possibility. So who knows what direction St. Louis is going to go? But I do know with some of the contracts up, especially on the defensive side, they're after all the transfers they did this summer, they're going to look at probably strengthening that defensive back line for next year because that's been the weakness the second half of the season.
Yeah, it's interesting. Even regardless of who the coach is, this is a group that St. Louis made so many moves, guys in and guys out, that your starting 11 has all these guys coming over from Europe or wherever else, and then you have guys who are out the door. So maybe replacing them, you have guys who didn't get a lot of minutes. So even though they're not maybe new to the roster, you have guys starting and playing more time that weren't doing it. So it's it's almost an entirely new team in its own way. So yeah, I really fall back on this whole group getting to know how they play with each other. and how their styles of play, their different skill sets and so forth, how they complement each other. Because I think if you have one unit that's more familiar with each other, it becomes easier for that unit to adapt to whatever style of play and scheme and whatever else the new coach will bring, whoever that is.
Well, and I find it interesting because Lutz went over to Bundesliga 1 and 2, and those a lot of these players coming over are German, coming from that league. So the Louisville rumor for manager kind of surprised me because I thought maybe he would go in the direction of try bringing someone from over on the Bundesliga side just because of all the players he's bringing over. Um,
Oh, that makes sense.
yeah, because we have like 3 or 4 Germans now on the team. You bring in someone with like the knowledge of their play style and how they play, and then try bring that style of game over here. I could see it doing very well, quite honestly, because most of the MLS teams on this side are looking to Mexico and South America for players and fighting over players there. So
Yeah.
personally, I think Lutz was kind of genius to go over to Europe and try pull some of these Bundesliga 2 players over because he's not fighting other teams necessarily for these players.
Yeah, I agree there. And honestly, I think you're going to end up getting a better quality of player. That's just my opinion of just the level of play in Bundesliga 2 and anywhere else that they're getting these guys. I, that is a subjective thing, of course, but I think St. Louis is going to benefit in the long run. And I think when you have a group that comes from the same league, but even just same area, European football is different at times than South America, Latin America altogether. So there's a certain continuity that allows the transition to be a little bit easier. So I think that's going to pay off. I'll be
Well, and it's
curious to see. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say just for an example of that, Leuven and I believe it was Toy Shirt both played on the under 20 the youth national team in Germany. So they've played with each other, they're familiar with each other. Uh, and it's fairly easy transition, it seems like, with all these players coming in because they've all been around each other growing up, talent wise as well. So
Oh, and,
for
and you
that,
mentioned Edward Leuven, and I think he and Roman Berkey are kind of perhaps the inspiration for looking to Bundesliga 2 and German football for for guys to bring in because they're all coming from the same area, same kind of style of play, as much as you can have it in one league or country. So that continuity, I think, is really going to help.
yeah, wholeheartedly agree. As for the game, there's a potential of rain, so it could be kind of a messy game. I don't know with the hurricane residual weather spinning around in the atmosphere. Could be
And
kind
see
of a
that,
wet.
and see one nice thing that doesn't have to impact St. Louis like it used to. St. Louis under Bradley Carnell needed a fast track. They were a transition team, a pressure team. I'm sure there's some aspects of that because that's who they were coached under for as the team began. But that with a wet track, you're not as doomed playing a little bit different style now.
Well,
Whereas, wet track really slows down a Bradley Carnell style team.
and with the talent they brought in, they have the ability to build up from back and hold more possession. So
Yes.
it's definitely going to be interesting how the two teams approach each other, especially because St. Louis is going to be a wildly different team than Kansas City saw last time. So it'll be interesting to see how they try to attack. Kansas City has been on a little bit of a run.
Yeah.
They made it to the U.S. Open Cup final, so they're playing good soccer as well. So I think this match is going to be wildly entertaining and a lot higher quality than people would expect for two lower teams in the table, quite honestly.
Yeah, they're not playing like the second and third worst team in the Western Conference. Not super, but better than that. Their level of play right now.
Exactly. But whether you call it the Capital Classic or the barbecue or whatever, I know City has been pushing their sauce for barbecue sauce today, and they're selling outside the stadium and all that. I think it's kind of funny, but I'm hoping for an entertaining match, and hopefully City can come out with a win and the season win over Kansas City. Other than that, we'll keep you guys updated with all things St. Louis City as they happen as the season closes out. So thank you for watching Under the Arch Sports.